Alright, Kimbo White here. I'm really not sure where to start out at with this video because you can start at so many places, and I just don't want people to get the wrong idea of what I'm trying to say because, I guess before I even start talking about it, I guess I should say that whether or not Miguel Torres did or did not get cut for what he tweeted and said is not the point of what I'm trying to say. I am extremely upset with what I've seen and heard today. I kind of ignored the Miguel Torres thing up until now. I'm glad that I read it because I just assumed that it was another guy who has had some lackluster performances lately and maybe didn't do what Dana expected him to do when he came into the UFC, and one of these guys that got cut that really just shouldn't have been cut, which is something, it bothers me from time to time, but it's nothing I get angry over normally. But the Miguel Torres thing kind of, definitely, without a doubt, piqued my curiosity before I even saw anything else about it. And then I saw, some rape jokes and this and that on YouTube, and I went and watched, I went and read the article on Junkie about what Dana had said, and before I ever saw any other videos or read anything else, I was immediately angry because in 20 years of watching UFC, and in the 10 that it's been under Dana's dictatorship, I have learned to not listen to what he says. A lot of the time, okay? I ain't gonna say 9 times out of 10, but a lot, okay? And you'll have to excuse my son. I'll try to talk over him. But no, Dana, he says things that appeal to him, to the UFC. He treats, favoritism to the max. Always has, always will be. If the guys don't fight for him, they're shit. If they're fighting the UFC, then they're the best in the world. He's always been like that. And we kind of, as MMA fans and UFC fans, take that with a grain of salt. And that's just, it's Dana, right? Okay, so big deal. He's not the worst guy in the world, and he's definitely not the stupidest guy that you listen to talk. He's very intelligent and does a lot of good things for the sport, okay? So, with that said, you have to sift through a lot of his bullshit too, and a lot of people do take what he says seriously, and he does have a lot of nut huggers, groupies, people that don't see through his bullshit, but most of his talk is bullshit, and it's his, like somebody said the other day, it's his little business as usual crap. And what it is business as usual is Dana can do what he wants in the UFC. It's like when I started working at Walmart a while back, which I don't work there anymore, but they're supposed to have an open door policy. They employ 2.5 million people. If you have a problem with your supervisor, you're supposed to be able to go up the chain of commands to whoever can resolve this situation or whatever. Well, needless to say, Walmart doesn't work like that. The next guy up is going to support the guy under him. It's like a judge supporting his cops. You're not normally going to go to you're not normally going to go to the regional manager's office and complain about the district manager and get shit. Because you have to have some real solid shit to go above somebody's head and do that type of thing. So where does a fighter go in the UFC when they want to go over Dana's head? Nowhere, because the Fertittas fully support anything he does. He has full reign. Of what goes on. He is the boss, and there are no guidelines whatsoever to anything that goes on in the UFC besides the fights themselves, the rules in the fights, and the drug testing because of the athletic commission. But as far as the way the fighters are treated and the way the fighters are paid and blah 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 and 50 million different things we could go into, I know a lot of you guys have done videos on all this shit before, but what it is favoritism to the max. And when I read the article, I saw through it right away, and Dana's trying to pull it off like what Torres said was so bad that he just can't tolerate that type of talk from someone in his organization, which I immediately, I immediately thought was harsh, and I did not agree with him losing his job over saying something stupid. Dana said he wouldn't explain what he said, and I'll post the article. I'll post a link to the video and probably post the article below in the description to this video. I'll post a link to the video of what I'm about to talk about. Dana White acted like what Miguel Torres said was so bad that it was just not acceptable, and he just had to be released from the UFC. And it went on to say, you want guidelines? Somebody else tweet something like that. Let's see it. I dare you. I double dare you. Alright, Baldy, calm the fuck down, because nobody dared you to do shit, so whatever. But what I'm getting at is Rashad Evans, okay, when I had read this article, I didn't even see this yet. When I read that article, okay, and I went to another website to see if there was any video of the Dana talking about this, and I watched the video of the clip from the press conference with Rashad Evans and Phil Davis, and I mean, it made me so mad that I really had to go calm down for a little bit before I even made this video, so I didn't just sound like a smart ass punk coming off the wrong way, because what Rashad Evans said to Phil Davis was offensive to me in a way, a little tiny bit, but I can still, even at that, I can still see, okay, it was a pun, it was a joke. He wasn't, his purpose in it was not to humiliate or, badmouth the people at Penn State, but what he said was, I'm going to put my hands on you worse than that. I'm going to put my hands on you worse than that guy did those kids up at Penn State. And Dana White laughed. I mean, he laughed. He thought that was funny. This is a father that we see loving his children on YouTube and all this on his video blogs. Thought that fucking joke was funny. Okay? So that in itself, they should both be punched right in the face as soon as one said it and one laughed, to be honest. But even at that, should Rashad Evans lose his job for that? No. Should he have been reprimanded or said, hey man, we need to watch your jokes, I know you probably didn't mean anything by it, but to use that as your analogy for what you're going to do to your opponent or whatever, the pun or whatever you call it, that's not acceptable. And, you know, even if you find the guy for that, okay? But when Rashad Evans did that, Dana White laughed. Now, Miguel Torres was asked to explain what he said. He wouldn't come out and explain it. That pissed Dana White off, okay? He felt disrespected there because Torres wouldn't explain what he said. Wouldn't explain what he said. And when he did explain what he said it was from a movie. It's just a line from a TV show. And to me, okay, that's your explanation, right? It's some stupid shit off the show. I repeated, I shouldn't have said. Same thing Rashad Evans did. Give him a fucking break, man. Or they both fall under the same lines, the same category. They should have the same reprimand. The same policy should apply to both fighters. Okay? And Miguel Torres loses his job. Miguel Torres is cut from the UFC. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably guys that haven't even known who Miguel Torres was until about the last year, because you're UFC fans, not worldwide MMA fans. But I know a lot of you guys are also hardcore Miguel Torres fans. You know what I mean? And this guy went on a 15-16 year win streak, and is one of the best fighters ever to step into a cage. And for Rashad Evans to get that kind of favoritism is bullshit. And I think that this is something the fighters should stand up for. And I'm not saying that Miguel Torres, okay, I'm not the one that makes company decisions in Zuffa and the UFC. I'm not going to sit here and say that Miguel Torres shouldn't have been cut, or shouldn't have been cut. And the only reason I say that's how I feel personally, yes. But what I feel even stronger about is the fact that that fighters should be treated equally and fairly, just like anywhere on the fucking planet, okay? And what Rashad Evans did was worse than what Miguel Torres said. You guys should go watch the video, read the tweets, and then get back at me before you even comment and see what you think. Read the article, watch the video of Dana, you know, and put your own 2 and 2 together on it. But what it boils down to is favoritism and dictatorship. There's no set guidelines in the UFC, and there needs to be. What Dana White says goes. If Dana White was in a bad mood one day and you pissed him off, you know, he could cut you from the UFC. He can make up some bullshit. Oh, he fucking said this or that. So, okay, so I can cut him. I can just cut him right out of his fucking contract, right out of the fucking UFC because he said something that I don't like. Okay, that's bullshit. That's not management. That's dictatorship. And that's been the last word with Kimbo White.